Good morning. My name is Joel McKay Smith. My families have resided in Utah since the 1850s. I'm a proud graduate of Lehigh High School, 1 degree of Kevin Bacon, which was filmed my senior year in high school. And I've lived north and south of the Thanksgiving Dixon line, which many would refer to the point of the mountain, the differentiation between Utah and our fine team from BYU, leaving the independent era. A winner with SMU, joining the Big Ten, I think it is. But why am I talking to you today? It's because we got a freak out going on. Let me give some context. I'm 57 years old, as previously mentioned, graduate of Lehigh High School, and I've lived through 5 distinct economic downturns that have affected me. And I got to tell you, each one of those were the best opportunity to improve yourself, for the economy to improve itself, and for things to change and pivot for the positive. So I'm a cusper. Do you know what that is? It means that you're born on the border of being a baby boomer, and in my case, a Generation Xer. So as a cusper, I can grasp the side of tradition on the great recovery from World War II and the Great Depression that represents the baby boomers, the innovation, the crazy illicit things put into people's bodies, and great changes in music and all those things. But I can also relate to some things that happened before that led to the 5 things that I encountered. Well, there's a Great Depression. There were multiple world wars. There was a lot of graft. There was a lot of change. There was Civil War. There was the taking of our lands from indigenous people. Where do we stop? Well, I stopped at 65. And my earliest memories of television were body counts, suicide on 19-inch Zenith television, and the single wide trailer that I grew up in, in Dry Creek. And I was first affected by recession as a 17-year-old, graduating from Lehigh High School, and realizing there were no jobs. Kennecott was closing, not closing down, but they weren't hiring. Geneva Steel was closing down. The inkling of the incredible SaaS community that we have up between Linden and Orem hadn't been constructed yet. But there was a lot of innovation here. Evans and Sutherland, lots of rockets, these TV things that were made here because we're Utahns. The original University of Utah that Brigham Young also created is a great byproduct of that. But why are we here today? Many of you lost your jobs. Many of you think that the founders, it was their fault. But it's more of a market correction. And when equity comes into companies from great big organizations, they typically lose some of the control. We've got some local examples that will remain nameless. But the way it may affect you is they're given a number that they have to cut, that they have to be able to take away from their operating budget. And they don't have any choice. And that's what happened to you. But you know what? I guarantee you, each and every one of you is going to be okay. You want to know why? We've got an amazing community here. Look at the latest iteration of the technology community of Utah that was jump-started by our own Clint Betts. There he is over there. Guy got a pink shirt on his profile. Good guy. And he unified probably wave 3 of the tech venture community here into a working, living, breathing example of a community that could interact, realize they could do anything, and be supported when they couldn't. And that's why we're here today. We're here today at the Silicon Slopes headquarters, and we're talking about the fact that this too will pass. And in the meantime, we're going to come up with some stopgap measures. We'll come up with ways to be able to use tools, like this Verbum tool that some of you may be seeing, that will give you a free code for 3 months, that will take you through this transition. Be it a short one, a long one, you may be doing distance learning, you may be doing something along the lines that tie into things like maybe you're working for a distributed team, and maybe they speak different languages and dialects, and if you had a tool that could help you with that communication, it might make it a little bit easier before you come back to work in your comfy confines, right off Thanksgiving point. But in the meantime, you're going to be fine. unemployment's still going to hover around 3 to 4%. It just has to, and it will. And you're tough people. I mean, I've been through it before. And I don't want to be too talky about everything that might have happened in my life, but I want to share some things that might apply to yours. When I graduated from high school, again, there was nothing here. Most of the best of the class of 83 left Utah because there just wasn't anything here. There wasn't any opportunity. Software started percolating from that period. In 1988, I was living in Park City, Utah. I'd done okay for myself, and I had a bit of money in the stock market that evaporated on one fabulous black day. I remember the dot-com crash very well. Very good friends that had raised millions, sometimes hundreds of millions of dollars, that again evaporated in one day. And some of those ideas came off of bar napkins. But there was innovation from all three of these and changes in the way that we do business that was for the good. I mean, think about the things that came out of each of those eras. Now let's fast forward to a little bit more of a cogent, applicable take on today. It's 2007, 2008. And the derivative crisis and things that happened with the Big Short and everything else that devalued much of our property and puts a lot of us out of work because there wasn't any work because everything was based on that. We bounced back. Most recently, one of the most severe recessions, I have no idea, except for the way that they describe recessions, why it was only 1 month, because it continues to today, it was when COVID started. We had a change in how we did things. If we could work, we had to work remotely. Many of us have been working remotely for years. And you know what happened from that? It's ongoing. There's the stimulus. A lot of us got a lot of money that helped us keep going and everything else like that. But you know what? It's not over, but it's not insurmountable. Because you're Utahns, gosh darn it. You have the ability to help yourself, help one another, help your enemies if you even think they are that, because truly nobody should ever hate anyone. So you don't have enemies, they can be frenemies or whatever. But we too can make it through this. We can cooperate, we can collaborate, we can do things together. We can call our friends in North Carolina, New York City, Detroit, Chicago, Boston, etc. and say, hey, we happen to have this group of about 8 people that might only be available for a little while because they might be called back or they might be picked up. Would you be interested in them joining your team for a month or two? And you know what they're going to say? Yup. Because they need you because they have the same problems we have. They're probably going to have some collapses and things like that, but they might not be able to fill the gaps. But you know what? Another thing is very important, and I did a more lengthy message a little while ago. Dial 8988. If you are distraught, if you're in a position where you cannot survive what's going to happen or may happen, and you've got anxiety, talk to those people. They're pretty amazing. They might be better than your spouse or your family or, somebody from your ecclesiastic gathering. But if you're feeling a little bit down, call the suicide hotline. It's there for a reason. A lot of our folks up on Capitol Hill here were part of it and getting it to go forward. But today, if you are not already planning on being there and you have been affected by the local layoffs and you think you can help with the local layoffs, or you simply want to support those that have been affected, show up 9 to 12, Silicon Slopes, 2600 Parkway, something or another. It's easy to find. You got Google. Because you know what? We're in this together, and there is no competition, Clint, in community building. Because from community building, you have everything that you would have within the genealogical structure of how we got here and the mutations that became the people that we are, that love each other, are going to help each other. And you know what? We're going to make it through. I'm Joel Meister. I'm out. Go Utes.